Hi everybody, I'm David Rodriguez. Welcome to Leaning Left. Everyone who is not racist, who likes Donald Trump, should vote for Joe Biden and other Democrats. It's as simple as that, really. And that sounds kind of crazy. Well, aren't those people conservatives and blah, 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 blah. Well, conservatism and Trump don't necessarily go hand in hand, really. But the thing is, what are Trump and the Republicans promising that they aren't already getting with Joe Biden, other than the racist stuff, right? Okay, so obviously the economy is a big deal. Like, everyone is worried about their money, and that's very understandable. I mean, it's tough. It's tough for everybody. It's certainly tough for me. Here's the thing. By nearly every measure, nearly every single measure, the economy is doing fantastic. Like, really, really good. Like, record-breakingly good. Everyone was predicting a recession when Joe Biden came into the office. And instead, things have gotten much better. Now, obviously, the one area that it could be argued that it's not so great is with inflation. Inflation is awful, right? But here's the thing. Pretty much every country is suffering from inflation right now. And all these countries started with really high inflation. But our inflation has been brought down to being amongst the very lowest of all those countries. So, yeah, there is an inflation crisis that is, again, global. But our country is doing far, far better than most. And here's the thing. Our wages, for the first time in a very long time, have passed up the rate of inflation. So, while things still cost a lot more than they used to, people are more able to pay for those things now, which is kind of incredible. Our unemployment rate is almost nothing right now. Wall Street doing fantastic, breaking records. Our economy is outpacing China, which is, again, the first time in a long time that has happened. And that certainly didn't happen under Trump. And in fact, while some people did do well under Trump, he didn't actually put in any policies that would cause that, at least not for the average citizen. He pretty much coasted off of what Obama put in place. He just didn't change that stuff. The only thing that he helped, the only people he helped, were the very, very rich, which he gave tax cuts to, which added trillions to our national debt. So, the economy is great. So, if people are worried about the economy, there's no reason to vote for Trump. He has no record of showing that he will help the economy. Now, what did Trump say recently? He said that he was going to be a dictator on day one, and I'm not even going to address that too much, other than no one who gets the power of a dictator ever lets that go. Ever. He did not mean only on day one, I promise you that. But he said that what he was going to do was drill, baby, drill. And, he says that to uproarious cheers. Here's the thing. Right now, the U.S. is producing more oil than they ever did under Trump. We're taking the lead in oil production. Now, I don't even like that. Okay, I think we need to be switching to other forms of energy, but if you like oil drilling, if that's something that you're positive on, and you're Republican, well, almost no one has a better record of that than Joe Biden. If you like oil drilling, he's kicking butt at that. He's doing amazing. So, if that's a big thing for you, then you want Joe Biden. Now, another big issue that a lot of Republicans seem to care about, I mean, everyone should be concerned about it, is immigration. There's a big problem happening. We have a lot of people trying to cross into this country from a lot of other countries. But here's the thing. Given that tidal wave of people, our Border Patrol is doing as well as they ever did under Trump. When Republicans are like, oh, they caught this many people coming over the border. Yeah, they caught that many people coming over the border. So they're doing a bang-up job. And by the way, when Democrats try to get a bill through that will help fund the Border Patrol more so they can be more effective, the Republicans shoot it down. The ones who bitch and complain and moan about how there's a crisis at the border and we should impeach everyone for not dealing with the border, they're stopping us dealing with the border. They're putting themselves in the way. Trump could talk about building a useless wall some more or whatever, but he didn't do anything that was helpful. The only thing he did was put kids in cages, which, by the way, isn't really helpful as much as it is monstrous and horrible and sociopathic. So maybe let's not go that route, because I like to think Americans are better than that. But the government under Joe Biden, the Border Patrol, is doing as well as it ever has, and it's up against so much more. And we need someone who can deal with a crisis in a useful way, in a way that'll actually get something done, and not like whatever stupid way Donald Trump would. Speaking of those immigrants, a lot of them are fleeing because of terrible wars and horrible dictators and all that sort of. There's a lot of reasons, right? And people will point out that when Trump was president, there weren't wars. We didn't have to deal with this. We didn't have to deal with Ukraine. We didn't have to deal with Israel and Palestine. That's right, those things hadn't happened. You're right. But there's really only two ways to look at this here. Either they weren't going to happen during that time anyway, but they still would have had Trump gotten a second term, because those issues didn't happen because of Joe Biden. All the various problems, however you want to look at them, they're not there because of Joe Biden. They're there because they've been there. And so these issues were going to happen. These wars are going to happen. Or if you want to think you can blame Joe Biden, you can say, well, they're only doing this because Joe Biden is weak, and they knew he wouldn't try to stop them or do anything. And if that is sort of the case, in a way, if that's your line of thinking, then you're right. They might not have done this had Trump been in office, if, and only if, that was because they're doing this because they want Trump in office. Because our enemies, our adversaries on the world stage, are all praying for Trump to become president next term, because our adversaries know that they can get away with any goddamn thing they want, which is why I think these things would have happened, but our response would have been horrible. Donald Trump would have probably told Israel to just nuke Palestine, just level everybody, right? You know, as many people complain about Joe Biden's policies over there, which is understandable, and that's a whole big topic that I'm not going to totally get into. I think he could be doing better too. Let's be honest, Donald Trump would not be a better humanitarian in this case. If we are upset, as we are, as I am, of the things happening to Palestinian citizens over there and what happened to the Israeli citizens, let me tell you something. Trump would absolutely tell them to level Palestine and everyone in it. If you don't believe me, just watch how he is. Watch how he talks. Give me a break. Putin would have gone uncontested in Ukraine. I mean, the Ukrainians would have tried to stop him, and they would have put forth still a way bigger effort than Russia would have ever expected. But without our assistance, they would have fallen. And if you're familiar with, like, history, you should know that letting that kind of thing happen does not stop there. It happened with Hitler, too. We could have helped stop that stuff early, and we decided, now we're going to let this pass. It's just a little country. What do we care about that? And we know what happened next. The Ukrainian war, the Ukraine-Russia war, is about protecting democracy, not just there, worldwide. It will matter worldwide. And Donald Trump, who says that he would end this war in like a day or whatever, or 3 days, he wouldn't really end this war. He would just say, go ahead, Putin, take whatever you want. He might even help Putin, because we know they're like besties. So he would have let Putin, or helped Putin, level Ukraine, take it over, and end that bit of democracy there. That's what would have happened. And again, if you don't believe me, just listen to the man for once. I mean, listen to what he actually says. Think about what he actually says. So, in order to deal with these wars, in order to stop the carnage over there, we can't have Donald Trump who will let this stuff happen and might even help it along. We have to have someone who will go against it. It sucks these wars are happening right now. I mean, that's minimizing it. It's obviously horrible. Everything about it is horrible. But if you want it competently dealt with, then you don't actually want Donald Trump. If you care about human lives at all, you want Joe Biden. Now, the one that's hardest to argue my case in here is abortion. If you're strictly anti-abortion, no matter what, then congratulations, because Trump made that happen. If you think there should be any exception to that kind of rule, then Trump is not your guy. Because he put in justices that he knew would end Roe. He knew that. Come on. Well, I don't think he came up with that on top of his head, but someone explained this to him in one-syllable words. He knew they would end Roe. And he's bragged about that. Now, If you're really anti-abortion, you might love that. You're like, well, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. The problem is that he can't stick to that idea. He will then talk about how, well, maybe there should be a thing because, women don't know they're pregnant within 6 weeks. He's not actually a hard line on that at all. Now, obviously, Joe Biden isn't either, although he is personally for himself against abortion. He doesn't put that on the rest of the country. So if you're hardline against abortion, Biden probably isn't your guy. I get that. But Trump really isn't either. He's trying to have it both ways so he can keep everyone under his sway. So you can follow him, but you're kind of a sucker if you do. But that's your choice. You can do whatever you want. So what is left? What is left that Republican voters get from Trump that they don't get from Biden? I was racking my brain trying to think of this, and then I was like, oh yes, it's obvious. The one real strong reason why you should vote for Trump, because you believe in what he stands for, that Biden does not in any way stand for. The one thing is that Trump is horrible to marginalized people. Whether that is people of darker skin color, or LGBTQ, or women. He's against all those people. He does terrible things to every single one of them, and he promises to do worse. He's talked about building camps to put immigrants in. And if you think it's going to stop with just immigrants, you're crazy. And you need to listen to history a little bit more. And he's already put people in cages. He put kids in cages with no plan to put them back with their family. You think that was an accident? That's a test run. That was a test run, because that's how it always goes. Nobody starts with just, hey, like Hitler got to. Then when it gets to the point where, like, tomorrow, this is the first time I'm talking about it, we're going to have concentration camps and we're going to start executing people. They don't do that. Nobody does that. They start small and see what people are willing to put up with, or get people acclimated to things, and then they step it up, and they step it up, and they step it up. So if you think those camps are going to be just for immigrants, you're crazy. If you think that we're not going to have to start showing our papers for whatever, you're crazy. But if you love, deep in your heart, your cold black heart, if you love treating people like that, if you think that this country should be white, Christian, only Christian, and with all the power in the hands of men, and only men, then congratulations. Donald Trump is your guy. And maybe if you ask really nicely, he'll show up to one of your Klan meetings. For everyone else, Biden is the clear better choice. The Democrats are the clear better choice because they are giving you everything that you say you want. You just don't hear about it on your news. That's what I think anyway. But what about you? Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on this, if I've missed any particular issue that people might look at Trump for when really they get it from Biden already. I would love to know about that. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you disagree, that's fine. But before you come at me and disagree, look into this. Look into what I'm saying beyond Fox or Breitbart or any of that garbage. Look at what's actually happening and tell me I'm wrong. I bet you can't. Not with actual backup. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit like and subscribe. Click the little bell icon so you can know about the next time I put out a video. And in the meantime, stay woke, stay vigilant, keep fighting, and remember, if you keep leaning left, you'll always be right.